There are moments in life when the weight feels unbearable. You pray, you fast, you cry out, but nothing seems to change. It feels like heaven is silent and the mountain in front of you just keeps growing. But I want to declare this to you today, not based on feelings, but on the authority of God's word. God is moving mountains on your behalf. Just because you haven't seen the shift yet doesn't mean the shift hasn't started. God is not idle. He is intentional. And every second that feels like a delay is actually divine positioning for your breakthrough. You may have been facing that mountain for years. Maybe it's a generational curse, a long-standing illness, or a door that's been slammed shut time and time again. But I declare to you by faith, the mountain is shifting. God is sending angels on assignment. God is releasing answers to prayers you forgot you even prayed. You're not waiting on a miracle. Your miracle is waiting on your obedience and expectation. Sometimes the mountain isn't the problem. It's the perspective. We keep staring at the size of the problem, forgetting the size of our God. But when you begin to shift your focus from the mountain to the mountain mover, your spirit will rise, your faith will ignite, and your words will begin to align with heaven. That's when change begins. Not when things around you look different, but when something inside of you believes again. When you realize that God is still faithful, still sovereign, and still moving behind the scenes. In the Bible, there were many who faced impossible obstacles, literal mountains and spiritual ones. Yet God never left them where they were. He always made a way through. Remember Joshua? He didn't need a bulldozer to bring down the walls of Jericho. He needed faith and obedience. That's the formula for mountains to move in your life. Obedience that doesn't make sense, and faith that refuses to die. Even when you're tired, even when you're confused, even when you don't know how it's going to work out. God doesn't need your strength to move the mountain. He only asks for your trust. That means even when your knees are shaking, even when your voice is trembling, even when your heart is broken, you still say, Lord, I believe you. Because faith doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, I'm not giving up. And God honors that whisper. He moves through that mustard seed of faith and turns it into miracles you never imagined. There are mountains that have been built over years, generational patterns, emotional wounds, financial setbacks, spiritual warfare. But I came to tell you today, God is not intimidated by how long the mountain has been standing. When He speaks, time bows. When He moves, strongholds fall. You might think it's too late, too far gone, too heavy. But heaven is not limited by earthly constraints. If God said He would do it, He will. And no mountain can stand in the way of His promise. Some mountains come to intimidate you. They try to paralyze your purpose. They try to shut your mouth and silence your destiny. But hear this loud and clear. God didn't bring you this far to let you be defeated by fear. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the grave lives inside of you. That Spirit doesn't retreat. It doesn't surrender. It speaks to the mountain with authority and says, be moved. And the mountain has no choice but to obey. You don't have to beg God to move. He's already moving. You don't have to manipulate your way into a breakthrough. You just need to stand in faith and trust His hand. The pressure you feel right now is not punishment. It's preparation. He's strengthening your spiritual muscles so that when the mountain does move, you'll be ready to walk into the promise with maturity, humility, and power. We often want God to move the mountain immediately. But what if He's using the mountain to reveal who He is in the process? What if the waiting season is not a delay, but a divine encounter? God uses the obstacles to grow your character, sharpen your discernment, and deepen your intimacy with Him. Because it's not just about the destination, it's about who you're becoming on the journey. Don't waste your mountain season. Worship through it, learn through it, trust through it. Maybe the mountain you're facing is loneliness. Maybe it's uncertainty. Maybe it's the feeling of being overlooked and forgotten. But can I tell you something with full assurance? God knows exactly where you are. He hasn't missed your prayers. He hasn't ignored your tears, and He hasn't abandoned your future. In fact, He's working on things that your eyes haven't seen and your ears haven't heard. He's crafting a plan so divine, so precise, that when it unfolds, you'll look back and say, only God could have done this. Mountains don't just block the view, they stretch your faith. They force you to believe in what you cannot see and trust what you cannot control. And that's where miracles are born. In the place where logic ends and faith begins. That's where heaven touches earth. That's where God shows up and says, watch me do what man said was impossible. There's a sound that moves mountains, and it's not the sound of complaining, it's the sound of praise. When you lift your voice in the middle of the storm, when you sing even though it hurts, when you thank God before the answer comes, you release supernatural power. Praise is not a filler, it's a weapon. And when your praise goes up, the atmosphere shifts, chains break, doors open, mountains move. You might feel overlooked by people, but you are handpicked by God. And that alone should remind you that no mountain can cancel what He ordained. If He chose you, He will fight for you. If He called you, He will equip you. And if He promised you, He will move heaven and earth to fulfill that promise. Don't settle for survival when God has called you to victory. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing. God doesn't remove every mountain. Sometimes He strengthens your legs to climb it. But even in the climb, He's with you. Even when it's steep, He holds your hand. And even if you slip, He never lets go. That's the kind of God we serve, faithful in the fire, present in the pain, and mighty on the mountain. You are not climbing alone. You are not walking into the unknown without a guide. He is with you, always. God is the God who makes highways in the wilderness and streams in the desert. Do you really think a mountain is too much for Him? Come on, He created the mountains. And if He created them, He can dismantle them. You are not at the mercy of your environment. You are walking with the Creator of all. And when He steps in, everything changes instantly, completely, miraculously. You may have been rejected, abandoned, lied to, misunderstood. But guess what? God specializes in using the rejected to rewrite history. He uses the unlikely to unleash glory. Your pain has a purpose and your mountain has a message. Don't be ashamed of what you've had to endure. Let it become fuel. Let it remind you that what the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for your good. He's not just moving the mountain, He's also moving in you. He's building resilience. He's awakening boldness. He's igniting faith that can't be shaken. This isn't just about your situation changing. It's about you becoming the person He created you to be. A warrior, a worshiper, a world changer. Let the mountain train you for the miracle. Let it teach you how to trust in ways you never have before. Hold on to the promise, child of God. Don't let your present situation define your permanent identity. You are not what you're going through. You are who God says you are. And He says you are chosen. He says you are victorious. He says you are more than a conqueror. So stand tall, speak life, declare His word. The mountain is moving, not later, not eventually, but right now in the unseen realm. As you close your eyes tonight, don't rehearse the worry, rehearse the word. Speak to that mountain and remind it who your God is. He is the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the one who parts seas, heals the sick, raises the dead, and defeats every force of darkness. That's your God, and He is moving mountains on your behalf. Because He loves you, He called you, and He's not finished with you yet. Get ready. Your testimony is going to be greater than the trial. If this message stirred your heart and reminded you that God is still moving on your behalf, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more powerful, faith-filled encouragement. Hit the bell so you never miss a word that could shift your season.